All right, we're on. Bracken, you didn't mention how nice that our setup looks. Kirk and Jack did.
Setup looks really nice, guys.
Looks pretty nice.
Bracken's lost right now.
Listen, I'm perked out over here.
Something's been up with you. What's been going on?
Did you buy that coffin yet?
I mean, I talk about it on the episode that came out today, but Thanksgiving morning, I just went to urgent care. I backslid.
What'd they tell you?
I've never been this sick in my life.
Did they just tell you to rub some dirt on it, get back out there? Or what'd they tell you?
Yeah, I said I tested positive for being an alpha male. Other than that, they didn't have anything they could help me with.
They don't have that in your chart somewhere? I feel like that should be something that's documented over time. People need to know.
They walked in, they're like, wow, is your testosterone naturally high? Yeah. Yep. Get those pheromones.
Guess my bench press.
Sir, you can stop doing push-ups now. Could you sit up, please?
Whatever. They prescribed you Midol and sent you on your way.
and he's off. All right, fellas.
Use that mute button right there.
World Championships are here. The season has finally come to an end. Does this feel the same as it has in the past? It seemed the same as last year. To me, it felt like it crept up a little bit quicker than it had last year. I don't know if there's a bigger gap, but it seems like we've had like a bunch of events in a row. Now it's just here. We feeling excited for this?
Yes.
Yeah, I think basically we went from Blue Mountain late October, then Trifecta World Championships a couple weeks later, a week after that, World's Toughest Mudder, couple week break. Now that you just haven't had that lull to stir up that momentum and that anticipation. I guess football has like a 2-week period before the Super Bowl from the time that the champion or the conference championships are done, and then you have 2 weeks. But OCR, I feel like we're typically used to a little bit longer of a gap between the big events leading into it.
I'm going to be a pessimist. Maybe it's because I've been dead all week. I feel like the season already crescendoed. This is the least excited I've been for a world championship in a long time. I don't know. I mean, I have a few theories for why, but World's Toughest fired me up. Atlantic City DECA Championship fired me up.
Oh yeah.
Blue Mountain fired me up. Yeah. But whether it's the depth of field or the venue not generating buzz like it did or what, I don't know. It doesn't feel to me like championship week.
When we think about last year, 2021, and it feels like it was punctuated by Abu Dhabi. It was like, okay, yeah. Atkins won the season and VJ won the series, but still at that championship event, I was like, okay, Atkins came out and did what something that had been invading him for some time now. Like if the season is already crescendo, like who do you feel like has that like who won the season then? I feel like I feel like that's still up in the air.
I don't have an answer to that. It's just, and I should say Trifecta Championships fired me up too. That was sweet as well. This feels like a hodgepodge season, which I think it was destined to be to some extent, but it's not that I'm not excited about this Spartan World Championship. It's that this hasn't felt like the lead-in that we've had in the past. Typically when we have a Spartan World Championship coming up, it's seen as it is head and shoulders above everything else in terms of spectacle for the year. And all throughout the week, you've had all the media outlets, including Spartan's own social, putting out, here's the first person to watch, and here's their resume, and here's the next, and here who we have on site doing this and this. And we're not really seeing athlete videos on site. We're not seeing all this course stuff. We're not seeing breakdowns and rewinds and everything. There hasn't been the pomp and circumstance leading into this event that I've seen every other year for the last decade. It feels like that's missing. Am I off base on any of this?
I don't know. Kirk, what do you think?
Well, I felt the same way before Trifecta World Champs. Like, I didn't really give a crap about what was going on over there. And then I saw it rolling in and I saw the hype. And then I was like, okay, yep, I buy in now. This is excellent.
It was sick.
And right, it was sick. And so there was no buildup for me for that event. And then I ended up almost feeling FOMO, which was the last thing I thought I would feel from that event. And so I think the same case could be made this year for Abu Dhabi. Last year, really, as far as like a culmination of a season, it was complete crap as far as how it was laid out last year, but what they really did a good job of, as Bracken said they aren't this year, is they pumped the heck out of it. Going to Abu Dhabi, all the cut-ins, building up the experience. This year, is this like a regular season race or is it a championship race? It's been pumped the same as like the Midwest Super typically would be, which is kind of wild. But I think when we see it, I think we're all going to be reminded how special the championship event is and how visually stimulating the venue will probably be. And then we'll all buy right in, just like Trifecta World Champs. My concern is that I've heard very little about production here. Last year, Spartan put up great productions. I thought I just watched them on the assault bike yesterday and today. They were fantastic.
Later, they were not live.
Right. We had good coverage.
We had the best coverage live.
Oh, yeah, that's what people are looking forward to.
Oh, yeah.
So point being is I don't know what we're getting for this. We haven't been asked, Bracken, to commentate. So I know it's not on our end. Spartan hasn't released that. So like as far as like understanding, what are we going to have to do? Refresh our Spartan backend page to see results? Is that as good as it gets? So that's my main concern. But I think it's going to be one of those like after the fact, we're going to be like, yep, that was legit or not, a little anticlimactic. I think we got to wait.
Kirk, to follow up on your point right there with the after the fact, it's not as hyped up. Has any championship this year not delivered? Like, let's look at OCR World. You had Ida with the upset victory over Lindsay. Like, weren't expecting that. And then Tyler Veerman, shocking right there. Blue Mountain, you had that fantastic battle between Lars and Atkins right until the end. World's Toughest Mudder, absurd. DJ Fox winning, Christopher Glosky 100 miles. DECA, every single one of those events. Rich Ryan with the win right there. You had the burpee off between Ryan Kent, Tara Jackson with a couple wins, Meg Jacoby asserting her dominance. Every single championship event in the past couple months, no matter how little or much it was hyped up, delivered. I don't think this is going to be any different when we get to see what happens.
That's a good point. It's a fantastic point, but I'm a little nervous about one thing. And that is that we got done with OCR Worlds, and I had a question I posed to the group, which was, how can we have a world championship with only 4 nations arguably having their best male or female there? And there were some argument to that, and there was a lot of, well, the second or third best were there, and it still they were fantastic races and all that, and that's all fair. Now we look at Spartan, and we see the list that's come out, and we're about to see it on this draft. Are there less nations with their top people there? I would say that this now is the weakest field of any North American series race we've had this year in terms of depth. The top is still strong.
Yeah.
But in terms of depth,
right,
this might be the easiest top 10 finish. Just not easy is the wrong term, but in terms of pre-race ranking, strength of schedule, most attainable top 10 finish compared to any North American or European championship event that's been held this year. And that's part of my argument with OCR Worlds is that Spartan always gets people. Even if everyone agrees they're mad at Spartan, they still all show up. Like, holy crap, suddenly they're not.
Yeah. Here are the facts. The facts are that Spartan had been extremely US centric. We lived in our own world, right? And that's all we really cared about. And they made this really conscious effort to broaden their horizons by putting races that mattered in Mexico, Canada, the world champs over in Abu Dhabi. So you want to pat them on the back for that in a sense, but at the same time, they have watered everything down by the inaccessibility and the non-willingness for people to travel to such extremes for such an event. We all know that if you put an event like this in North America, namely US or Canada, and then or a European country, the contingency is going to double because of ease of accessibility. And they've kind of, as much as I want to pat them on the back for broadening their horizons, I feel like they've shot the entire thing in the foot by just putting it somewhere in which is such a pain in the ass to get to in such an itinerary that it's already going to dilute the field by default. And that's where the mistake happened, in my opinion.
Rich, before you go, Kirk, we said something on our Thanksgiving episode, which was one of the issues in the sport of running right now is some race organizers are shooting themselves in the foot by not being prepared for what they need to be doing. And our takeaway line was, if you put on a race with your first and sole purpose to make money, you're already going to lose. We see that happening a lot all over the world. And I would say that that's not Spartan's only mission here, but by choosing Abu Dhabi, they chose the payday of the council there over all other things. And now that's coming home to roost. You're seeing what happened in year 2. People go to Tahoe or Killington or any other place that a world championship's been, and they're excited to come back and get better at that venue year 2. And people got done with year 1 and said, all right, I'll probably never do that again. Like they chose money over venue, over location, over ease of access. And this is what happens when you make the financial decision first over other things. So it's just interesting that we just talked about this on an episode and we're seeing the result in our own sport right here. So Rich, go on from there, but I found that parallel interesting.
It's definitely interesting. And I was just going to mention the both points of, yes, it's going to be less attended, less deep, but to Jack's point, I think it is going to be pretty entertaining. And then also something worth noting is that they did offer some support for athletes to make the trip last year, which they hadn't done this year. So it was basically all on the athletes who want to make themselves out there. And this is probably the last Spartan Race World Championship that we've known it in the past, at least for a year. We're not going to have this format next year.
Are we not for like a world champs? Has that also been announced as being nixed? I guess there's a lot of gray area
as of right now.
I think it's going to be 3K. Yeah, we don't know yet. Jack says we don't know, and I don't know if he's just keeping it tight to his chest. My guy's got sources out
and
there.
Rich, you want to know the crazy thing? For the first time.
Yep.
What?
I think
What's
it's crazy?
crazy?
Crazier that it's a super instead of a beast like it's been for the past decade.
That is going to be interesting, and that'll play into the way that we're drafting for sure. So that's going to be how we're going to really we're going to preview this thing by doing the draft. You guys who've listened, you know it, but we're doing it. It's coming down to it this time. Everybody's 8-8, 3-way tie. We haven't talked about a loser, but last year I lost, and I just didn't follow through. Didn't do it.
Is this the culmination? No, because we're not sure if this is the culmination of the Spartan season. We were having a hard time figuring that out, but this is the culmination of our season. This is our Super Bowl. It comes down to this, no matter what.
What really matters.
Stakes are high regardless. Yeah.
Really, really high. And it's perfect because I think there's only going to be about 8 total athletes that all 4 of us collectively know. So we're just going to be firing from the hip. And we're just going to have to make Jack make a huge blunder, which is not out of the realm of possibility. That happens.
Jack, statistically, what are the odds that we have a 3-way tie for 8-8? Can you wing this off the top of your head? Like statistically, what are the chances of this?
33 1/3.
I mean,
no.
I would imagine assuming that we all have like equal skill levels, it's probably pretty likely that no one's going to win.
But we know that's not true.
The other, but the fact. I know. Well, I think the fact that you guys have 2 brains helping out definitely worked in your favor. And Rich being a world champion, like he's got that extra brain ability as well. So I would argue that I probably had the least likely chance of doing well. So I'm impressed that I got here.
You're the returning champion.
You didn't answer my question.
No, I don't know. 50%. There you go. We're all 8-8, 50% odds. We'll keep it 50%.
Not true.
I'm taking the under.
I'll do the math after the show. We don't want to be on here for too long.
All right.
Yeah. I do want to say one thing. I opened with all negativity, but this race is going to be incredible.
It's going to be sick. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
the top end of these fields are going to go at it. This is going to be an awesome race.
Men's and women's.
The only point that matters is the point Jack made about the fact that it will deliver. And we'll have plenty to talk about afterwards, and we're going to eat our little words.
We won't eat our words.
Sure, we will.
Because our words were, it doesn't feel like they've made a build up to a world championship this week. That can't change by an awesome race happening. No one heard about the Super Bowl all week, and it was a banger. It didn't change the fact that they didn't promote the Super Bowl great. Like, it's going to be a great race.
There will be no apologies made.
Feel like it.
Bracken and Rich, you'll get this. Now, it was like the Bucks versus the Suns. It doesn't have the same hype as like Lakers versus the Celtics. Guess what? It was a fantastic series. Not as many people might have been talking about it because of where it is and what teams were involved, but still,
they were talking about it. And
that was a pretty subtle dig at me there, Jack. Oh, Rich and Bracken, you'll get this. You'll appreciate this.
Did you get it?
I'm from
I don't think it was subtle at all, Kirk, actually.
Yeah. I think you're a real asshole.
Yeah. Plus, that analogy doesn't hit home for us because
That's all they were
from
talking
Wisconsin.
about.
That's all the buzz was. Like, it didn't get bigger than that. So
Yeah.
maybe to the outside nation, it didn't feel like a big series, but
Well,
it's
Rich's
the only
team
thing
didn't
we had
make
going
it,
for us
so-
that year.
I'm feeling prejudice over here.
Brooke
All right.
Lopez is a big draw. People talk about him.
Yeah.
All right. So
This is
Draft-
Philly sports fan right here getting, he wins a world title. He boos Santa Claus. His team's 10-1.
oh yeah, we're feeling good about the Eagles. The Sixers, I was watching them and I was like, I hope this team doesn't even make the playoffs because I don't really want to watch it.
Philly
so that's
sports
also the Philly
winning
sports fan.
is the definition of slapping lipstick on a pig. You guys have a great shade of lipstick, but it's still Philly.
Eagles are nice this year. That team is actually good. Yeah, you're bringing this up now after what just happened to most rushing yards since like the 40s before they could even throw the ball like overhand.
Yeah, and then they all got mugged on the way home.
You better believe
Congratulations.
it. Yeah. Double loss for the Packers. All right, so we are drafting snake style, 5 men, 5 women, 1 wild card. We're doing keepers, right? From
For
Blue
one.
Mountain.
I thought we established
no.
for Greece that international races were not going to have keepers because of the variability.
Okay, no keepers. So we're doing cross country scoring. Some of your top 7, not 5. Men's and women's combined your total score. We're doing dual meet style, so head to head scoring. So we'll have 2 outcomes. That's how we're 8-8, and I think we've done 8 races. Did you see that the cross country championships came down to the tiebreaker on the men's
Tiebreaker.
side? I didn't know that that's how it was done.
It's updated.
I
That
like
is-
it. I like the new format
Do
of the
you?
tiebreaker. I do.
Because we talked about that before, tiebreaker here, and I think we decided because in high school it's the 6th runner. I think
Correct.
here we thought it was your 5th guy or your top finisher. The head to head, that's interesting.
It is interesting because the spirit of cross country is strength of team. Who's got something beeping
Who's
in their
beeping?
background? It's got to be Jack.
Nope.
His brother's on a call. His sister's on a call.
Is that
I don't
me?
know.
Girlfriend's
have
on
a
a call.
sister.
Fiance's on
Not
a
me.
call.
It's you, Rich.
I'm looking. I've got snow outside, not a single tire track.
So the spirit of cross country is the team, the strength of the team. And so the 6th man concept is really the spirit of the sport. But I never liked it for high school because it punishes small schools. Like, what if you only can get 5 good people or 4 and your 5th barely straggles in? So
Fair.
this head to head's interesting. And I don't know if it's better or worse. It was just almost a surprise to everyone, even fans of the sport, because we never see this happen. The
It's
previous
still-
closest finish was 1 point at nationals.
Mhm.
It still
Never
speaks
had
to
it.
strength of team, though, when you go head to head through 5. I mean, in a sense, it
Yeah.
just I mean, it still speaks just in a different way.
I think it's more appropriate for nationals because nationals is about qualifying the people you can get there. The other people on the team get to come along, but they didn't really qualify to get there. So they shouldn't really matter. I think at nationals, I like the head-to-head scoring because it's the scorers get to throw down and each position you had matters rather than, we had these other people that really didn't qualify, but now they matter. So I think I like it better, but it was interesting. There's a talking point.
And that's very hard to keep track of. It is something you can kind of track. I think Leo Manzano, who was doing the commentating or
I
no?
don't think so.
No, they didn't say who it was on YouTube. It was a guy from Texas who ran 3:35. I got those points out, and I was like, mate, who else?
Well, and our girl
but-
Carrie Tollefson, she did a good job.
Did a great job. And then there was another guy. There was like a main guy, and then I just deduced that it was Leo Manzano, but he was able to kind of put it together really quick, like the 1-2 for NAU, and then the other in here, and like so. I couldn't keep track, but I also didn't know to be tracking that. Cross country happens so freaking fast.
Yeah.
It really does. Especially if you're not there watching and picking it out as it's going. It's hard to kind of figure out what's going on TV. Anyway, Jack, who's not coming this race on the women's side?
That was an abrupt transition. So I have these written down. I think the biggest one that will not be there, Emma Cook Clark,
Yeah.
the only member of the OCR Dream Team who was going to be racing is Andy Doobie. That's what Nicole told me. So pretty big shocker.
Do we have a Y on Emma? Did she didn't want to win a world title?
Is that it? I'm
Does
good.
she have something going on? Is she injured?
I genuinely don't know. She posted a video or story of her rock climbing yesterday, so I don't think she's hurt. I don't want to. It would just be speculating at this point, but I just know that Annie's the only one from the dream team heading over there. Other ones, Zuzana, 2-time champ. She's raced in the Middle East before. I thought she was going to make a comeback this year. She hasn't raced all year. She won't be there. I think she's done with OCR, period. Alex Walker, Faye Stenning, Ida, and Rhea, and obviously Nicole tried making a little comeback before Blue Mountain, but then the injury just wasn't healed on time. So you've got some pretty big names who will not be there on the women's side.
It's interesting that there's just so much speed not going. I understand that travel wasn't being offered for most people, but again, this race, you could win more money than at a North American Championship. And maybe easier, not easier, but your odds are a little better. And travel's not crazy to the Middle East.
You've been there a couple times.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big ask. I get it. And it's holiday season and all that. But prior to this race, I was thinking Emma Cook-Clark and Gregory Basilico are the two favorites in my eyes, and neither are going. That's just wild to me.
Ida too. That was surprising to me. She just rocked the High Rocks. See that? It was 65, I think.
What can she do?
Pretty good. How about on the dudes?
A lot of the U.S. contingent, to be honest, like Lars Arneson. We saw him take the win in Blue Mountain. Tyler Veerman's not going to be here. Mark Audette was here last year. Ryan Kempson, would have loved seeing him. Gregory Basilico was the biggest international name, in my opinion, who I would have loved seeing here.
Thomas Buell?
I didn't see him on the list either.
He's another guy that could have
fast guys. Yeah, Thibaut Deboucher, Albert Soleil, couple European studs from throughout the years. You're definitely missing some names like Liam McKenzie as well. Just won the APAC championship for the second time.
What about the Danish boys?
Yeah, Nikolai Dam, 5th place last year.
They're going.
No,
he's going.
Okay,
Nikolai? Am I wrong?
He's not on the list. No, he said that he's running some cross country or trail race in Sweden. He made a post about it. He's not on the list.
Oh, who was I looking at?
This is a race where like Rich Ryan or myself should just buy a last minute flight and just go see what happens.
You should go. Would you go?
But see if we can't come home with $5,000 and then call it good. Not like it's that easy, but
it's a super. Also, it's in that time domain for Rich. That's what
I'm saying.
Sean Roberts should go.
And
there's a lot of people we could start rattling off, but it just feels that way.
Josiah should go.
Yep. Alvaro.
Alvaro should definitely come to this.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to be really just tossing them out there at the back end of this draft. We're just going to be asking Jack to pronounce all the names, but now's the time we've all been waiting for.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Before you click it, can we really like the 30-second elevator speech on the course? I haven't dissected the map fully. Have any of you guys? Like, this is a super distance, 10K. Do we know how much gain we're looking at? Do we have just for the listener to wrap their head around why our choices are going to be made? Anybody got intel there? Crickets? No.
I have the course map. If you want me to pull it up, they did post it.
Just real quick, just even so I can wrap my head around it. So I can.
Yeah, the main points: super on sand, probably some up and downs. I'm guessing probably not more than 1,000 feet.
There's a bit of up and down, but there's not the big dunes of last year.
The biggest dune in the world, or whatever it was.
1,000 to 1,500 feet be my prediction.
But the sand, it looks like there will be soft, duney sand.
It did look like that. So downhills
not going to be free running.
But downhills aren't going to play as a factor. As we saw last year, there's a couple of monster downhills, and everybody could just fly down them. Like the technical ability is kind of taken out with a course like this. Let's get Alvaro over there.
He's saving himself.
Yeah, it looks like about
Central Florida beast.
Kirk, you gonna go down, take him on head to head.
I'm gonna look at flights tomorrow.
Nice.
We'll see.
Yeah. Looks like about 30 obstacles, 6.5, 6.6 miles based on the map right there for the super. Penalty loops on Twister, Olympus, rope wall, monkey bars, and monkey in the middle as well.
Does it have an elevation?
It's it's too blurry because it's a Spartan map.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So
Never looks like
we'll
more.
just-
If those are probably 50 to 100-foot climbs, looks like maybe a 200-foot gain at the longest duration. I don't think you're having the big sand dunes like last year.
I'm spinning
satisfied.
this wheel. Here we go. This is 4. We're all even. So
Rigged.
And the hits.
Yeah,
boy. It's all coming up rich this week.
sure is.
Champagne tour continues.
It's happening. I am going to take the number 1 pick here.
Boo.
All right.
Wow.
That was a
Yeah.
weak spin. That was a weak
Here
spin.
we go.
That didn't even feel real.
Fake spin.
Do it again. Click it again.
I'm gonna remove it and then the spin you got. All right, here we go. Jack, what do you want?
I'm gonna take the number. Oh, this is tough. Number 2 pick.
Number 2 pick. Okay.
Kirk, should we snag that 3rd spot?
Let's really mow it over, Bracken.
3rd spot. Yeah, we want that back-to-back pick. We'll take 3-4.
Nice, good strategy. Excellent strategy on that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, historically, the second. Well, I think that was last. What are the updated stats on the picking and picking spot versus winning? I don't think we have them this year. Oh, but hold on, since we're starting.
I could look back. Blue Mountain.
Boom.
That is pretty.
How about that? I want the ticker instead.
Oh, that's legit.
Ticker.
Ticker.
Breaking news worthy.
Let's let people know what we're doing repeatedly. So I had the first pick, and then check this out too. Boom, my pick. So what I'm gonna do?
This is going to turn into one of those high school PowerPoint presentations with stuff just zooming all over the screen.
Is anybody just watching that now? Just repeatedly
like,
on
the
the
cash
bottom.
register
I'm
sound.
losing focus.
That's part of the plan. I have the first pick. I'm taking Lindsay Webster here.
Terrible choice.
I think she's the only sure thing,
Lindsay
and not necessarily a sure thing, but is as close to a sure thing as we can get. Oh man, right on Bracken's face. Tough. So, and I mean, there's some strong women on the field, but how many is she's 2-time world champ now? Or 3?
Lindsay?
3
3?
in Spartan 3 times.
Spartan.
3.
3. Wow.
Yeah.
Going for 4.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to catch. We'll see if it happens.
So, question for you guys: how many in this field have ever beaten Lindsay in a Spartan race?
In this field,
Is this some fun fact, Jack?
has
Yeah.
Miriam ever beat her?
Yes, it is.
I'm guessing 2.
No.
3.
0.
What do you guys think?
3.
Kirk is the winner.
2. Kirk wins. That's the
There
easy
is
one.
not a single woman who is registered who has ever beaten Lindsay in a Spartan race. So you'd be stupid not to pick her. We knew she was the number 1 pick, but just wanted to throw that out there.
Yep. Not
All right.
stupid. All right.
My
Here we go.
pick.
Throw it up. Jack's pick.
I'm going with. Yeah. Who else do you think I'm going to pick? VJ Jones. He's taking home his
Boy.
first world title.
Spartan.
I just wanted to run with them recently. Cue the whatever the
Bingo.
game that everyone plays is when I say that. But he's looking fit, and I think he wants this just as much as anybody. That super distance, that's the difference maker. If this was a beast, I wouldn't feel as confident if this was last year's course. But I think a super under an hour, I just think this is his year.
I'm glad you picked him.
He seems to be preparing for it. You know, this is something that he's put on. They just kind of put it out there for a long time. It's like going out to those sand dunes and hitting. How far is that from you guys? Is it about like an hour and change? Under 2 hours?
2:15, 2 hours 15 minutes roughly.
Yeah.
You know what
Not bad.
BJ's great at is backing up what he says. If he's not quite there, you'll probably know it. And if he's ready and there and out for blood, you'll know it. And when he says that, he delivers pretty much every time. So that is a scary thing. I can't think of him ever falling on his ass when he's proclaimed like his intentions. Has
That
he?
he's ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. because he doesn't, and he's been to the point now where he knows that when his fitness is really dialed in. So barring any type of error, I mean, he's gonna be really tough to beat here. I guess the only thing is experience with Atkins running so many world championship. Like, how many races has VJ Jones realistically been a contender to win a Spartan World Championships? Has that ever happened? Has he ever come in as a favorite?
I mean, he's got 2 OCR World Championships. I feel like that's kind of some pressure.
That's not what I asked.
Rich is a world champ now, and he's
that.
bringing that energy to this moderation.
How about that? How about that? But you know what I mean? Like, I mean, this is.
I think he got like 10th or 11th at Tahoe once.
But he wasn't like, oh, let's see if he's gonna win. Like the 3K at World Championships does feel like it would be a lot of pressure just because it's so fast and there's no room to make mistakes. But I think this is the first time in a Spartan race where he has been top 3 contender here.
And it wasn't 11th at Tahoe because that was Kirk's spot.
Oh,
The
yeah.
year before. He was like 17th or 19th that year. Year before that, he was somewhere higher, I believe.
Yeah.
I thought he was 7 or 8.
Corral.
I don't think so. But
What are you going to do?
I think we're in a
Back-to-back
really
picks.
difficult spot. I don't like this.
Are we?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think there are 2
you
men
have
and
potential
2
winners
women.
still.
Well,
Two men and
here's
two
the
women
thing.
who are
Atkins
just
needs to be
studs.
taken right away. But without question, he's got Rich was
You
all
think
over
above
it.
Ryland?
Wow.
Why? What would tell us no?
Because Ryland's got the better of them every time they've raced recently.
Not at Blue Mountain.
Well,
Did,
he did.
Oh, yeah. Ryland was kind of. He ended up 4th. He looked like he was struggling that day just with
He
and he
fell
was like
off
stopping
of
and stretching his
Twister or
IT band and
something
stuff. He
Yeah,
was
still
hurting
came
that
back.
day. But
What?
softer surface.
He's
like,
already
for-
over.
if
He's in
he-
Amsterdam right now.
Nice. If he is hurting, like this is going to be a decent course for him. Where like a Blue Mountain, not good for like an IT band issue.
So, yeah, I have Atkins and Ryland, and then Chris and Esther. I think either one of those they're not going to be available to us, and I don't know who to choose between them.
You're not going to go. Was it Petrova who was 3rd last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Petrova
And then
and Annie
she's-
Doobie, who is 2nd, who looked strong AF out there last year. I don't think
Yeah.
it's as clear as you're saying.
Well, I was just starting down on the list. I think there are 4 women you could take here and 2 guys minimum, maybe 3. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. What would you do?
I would go Atkins. We're at sea level, and that's all I need to know. And he has tenure on this course. Listen, Ryland has had himself a year, and nobody in this world is Chris Rogloski other than Chris Rogloski. And I have to think if I were Ryland, I'd be a little tired by now. I'm bringing 90% of my best game after all of this big time racing. I don't doubt his top end potential. Where's the last time we saw Atkins? He's ready.
Okay.
That's what I say. That's my justification. Nothing against Ryland. He's a stud.
Let's take Atkins.
But do you understand where I'm getting at? Do you get my take
course.
there? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we should take him, snag him up.
I mean,
Right.
the reigning champ going 3rd overall, I think, is value.
Yeah.
It is. But he also didn't win that race until the final climb.
But we had John Albin in that
Ryan
race.
never was losing.
And he went out aggressive, which means he can do it in a super.
If you look at Ryan Atkins's athletes
he got passed.
splits, he was ranked 1 at every single checkpoint during that race.
He was losing less than a mile
Like
from the
7 or
finish,
8 of
though.
them. He led this thing wire
Yeah,
to
him-
wire.
Wasn't it Sergey?
Checkpoint
Sergey
wise, but Sergey
caught
overtook him.
he had like a step on him.
Barely.
For maybe like a
I mean,
minute.
No,
Ak-
he put like a
Yeah.
he put like a 10 to 20 foot gap on him at one point.
Bracken, how many times have you watched this race?
More than the rest of you put together.
I don't remember. seeing
I
that.
believe it. I believe that to be true.
Anyways, so we have Atkins.
Yeah. Okay, I made my case for him. So make your case for the next pick.
On paper, if we're using the same strategy, Annie's the pick. She hasn't been overextending. I don't know Rich's inside information on what she's like health or fitness wise, but she looked good the last time we saw her. She's been only closing the gap. Annie would be the pick. If we use the same rationale.
Although Petrova, I don't mean to draw this out. Sorry, guys, but Petrova was she missed her spear last year and had quite a gap on Annie, and this is a shorter race. And for some reason, I view Annie as a longer distance driver. Petrova looked strong. She was up there in the mix with Emma, Lindsay, Petrova. That was sort of the. So anyway, I don't know. You just decide. I don't even want anything. I just want to hold this over your head later if you're wrong. I don't want to take any responsibility for this. If I got a bed set up on the couch for you, you'll know why.
Well, I would take Esther over any of them, honestly. Esther just gave it to everybody in Greece. Esther would be my pick.
Damn it. This is hard. I don't know.
Esther.
All right, I'll get the bed. I'll get the pull-out couch ready for you.
Jack, that's you're bummed that they took Esther, huh?
That's fine.
Licking your chops. Jack was probably ready.
I watched her at Spartan European Championships, and she looked head and shoulders faster. Well, she doesn't look faster. I've never seen someone stride that makes less sense to their speed than her.
She looks very slow. She like shuffles.
But she has such drive and turnover and keeps going constantly. And she looks that way throughout every single race. And so she gave it to Ida. She gave it to Chris. She gave it to Alyssa. I can't imagine any of those actually beating her. And the only thing she ever struggles on seem to be wet grip. And there's not going to be any of that.
Well, let's do Esther's service. And why don't you tell everybody your last name, Bracken, so people know.
Bayova.
That's not bad.
Well, good job.
That's pretty good.
That was pretty spot on.
I thought you had him, Kirk. I was like, damn, glad Kirk didn't do me like that. But
I will.
He's gonna. I got a whole lot of first names written down here.
Jack, who would you have taken in our spots? Since we had we just spent 10 minutes going back and forth.
A lot of pandering.
I did not think that Esther was gonna be picked with 3-4 right there. I was like, I'll pick second because I'm gonna get Esther back in fifth. So you guys ruined my plan. Yep.
I would have taken her as the second woman off the board in every single draft, no matter how many times we did this. I think that she's a danger on this course to Lindsay. Yeah, I think she's a danger to Lindsay.
Yes.
I had her as the number 2.
Esther has struggled in the past at Tahoe because of the cold. She DNF'd after the swim. She was in like 4th place, 90 minutes in. I know that doesn't mean anything. It's how you finish. But Esther, she was keeping up with Nicole when Nicole won her world title. She was like 9 seconds behind her after 2 days at Greece Trifecta World Champs in 2019. She just dominated European champs. She's podiumed 49 of her last 50 or first or second in 49 of her last 50 races.
Wow.
That's all you need to know. And Zuzana, 2-time world champ. She's only lost to multiple times to the same person, twice to Lindsay and 4 times to Esther. No one else has ever beat her more than once. I think that's all you need to say about Esther. So yeah, 100%. She would have been my pick. I did not see this coming. So this is a
blindsided.
You screwed me
wow,
over.
That's disrespect to the corral. He's like, these dummies. They're not taking anybody outside of North America, but Bracken's out here.
But when they were saying like Annie, when they're like, oh, should we pick Annie or Chris or Ryan? I'm like, go for it. Please do. Just take one of them. No disrespect to them, but yeah.
Esther has the look of being better than people around her.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Like when you see people race on screen, I don't know if you noticed during the Greece trifecta, they were having trouble figuring out how far Alyssa was behind her on day 3 in the Beast. And as I was watching it, they're like, I think she's made up time. She's 2 minutes behind. And I, to the screen out loud, I was saying, no, I bet she's 5 or 6 minutes behind you. That just the visual, she is moving so much faster than everyone else you're showing on screen. She just looks differently when she competes. She competes at a higher turnover than any of the other people out there. She just has that look.
Speed walker.
She does look like a speed walker.
She's always churning forward, no matter what happens. She did back-to-back burpees in the middle of that and got up and got right back to work. She just has an engine that doesn't make sense compared to her stride. I'm a believer.
Did you write that in the comments of the YouTube? Like, no, it's probably like 5. And then did you ask like,
no,
where the 15th place person was?
I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think that Esther will finish closer to Lindsay than Emma has at any point this entire season.
Let's see if you can throw that in our face afterwards.
Yeah, you could just make up the number because I don't really know.
Hey, you guys
what
have
that
her.
is, so
I'm going to say she
congratulations
finishes
on that.
closer on
I don't-
our
well-
roster than to your roster.
100% will happen. So
All right, there you go. There you go,
All right.
Kirk. There's your statistics for your percentage that you were looking
Yeah.
for earlier.
Really
Jack came
happy
through on
with
Matt.
that.
Jack
Yeah,
came through with
thank you.
Matt this time.
So
Jack, who you gonna take?
math. So Rich, you're gonna have back-to-back studs. It's gonna be tough, but
I'll put that on.
I'm going with someone who KB Corral was contemplating. She has lived in the Middle East for over a year and finished third last year. I'm going Alyssa Petrova.
Oh,
Or
nice.
Lisa Petrova.
She looked good last year at this
Which
race.
means what?
Yeah, she was super strong. She got second at the trifecta as
We
well.
only saw her at, she got second at Trifecta World Champs. Yeah. And she ran 3 local races earlier this year. They're in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. So she knows how to run on sand outside of just what happened in Abu Dhabi last year. I think she's a good pick. Now,
You think
Rich,
your pick is a
here's
good
where you
pick.
win,
Nice.
win or lose the draft.
Nice. I'm taking Rylan.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've had him on the
Tough to turn
squad
him
this
down.
year.
He's usually our guy, I feel like.
He is your guy. You guys usually, and he always
Sorry.
comes, and he typically comes through.
Sorry, Rylan.
He's not going over there to get top 5, I don't think. I think he's going there to win. I think he's going to put himself right in the mix. Just depending on how, I don't think he raced last weekend, or right? Hopefully not. I think he has finally had a weekend off, so maybe he'll be feeling fresh.
I think
It's
he
just
took a
so
week
hard
off.
to stay at the pointy end of the spear for very long, right? I
Mhm.
guess how's that for a Spartan lingo?
Strong.
But strong, yeah. But not saying he can't. It's just like we've all tried to peak. We've had periods of time, and it is tough to do. And I think anybody who wins this on either side is going to be have to be at their peak and put it all together on the right day. And so that's where my concern is with him. Like maybe he can do it, and he's going to be more impressive than ever if he pulls it off. I already respect the guy, but it's just tough. It's tough to do, to race that hard, that often, that frequently at the back half of the season.
He's like high school style, just racing himself into shape. And let's see if he's won too many races there. But he's raced international this year. He's seen a lot of these guys he's competing against. So he's a little bit of experience from that perspective. The rub on him has been, in Greece, he made a bunch of mistakes, but the weather was poor. Weather was poor in a couple of the races, like Blue Mountain. It wasn't great. It was cold, and he's been missing some obstacles, but I don't think that's going to be a thing at this race. I think it's just going to be work rate here. And he has that. So I think this will be
He's also as used to like international travel as anybody in this field. Like he went to Greece Trifecta. He keeps, he's just hopping around everywhere. He's used to travel, weird sleep and stuff. I don't think he's going to be as affected by some people who haven't made the trip this year.
So then my next pick is an athlete who beat Rylan at Trifecta, Richard Heine.
He's on a roll. European champ as well.
He could win this race. 1 Trifecta, 1 Europeans. Like he's pretty dialed in. He knows how to win championship races, and he's done it, 3 to 4 times now. So to me, he's the international athlete who could win this without Basilico being here.
There's probably one other on there.
He's also raced in the Middle East like 4 or 5 times. So
he didn't do great last year, right?
So.
He was kind of down a little bit.
Nope, he didn't. But in the past, he's taken down some big names in the Middle East as well. But right now, he is on fire. Like European champs were in October. Trifecta was in November. It's not like he's been holding this peak all year. He was actually losing to some people that were pretty surprising to start the year. So I think that he's kind of doing the Ian Hosick strategy of peaking at the right time towards the second half of the season, and very strong pick.
Could be learning that he's young, doesn't look young, but is young. And
he's the same age as VJ.
Is he?
Yeah, he's been the
young.
European VJ, basically.
Nice, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Jack, who you got?
Second place last year, Annie Doobie. Can't believe she's on the board still.
Nice.
She's rounding into form. Everything that I've seen from her, like her climbing, she went out aggressively with Emma and Lindsay at Blue Mountain. You saw how good she was at climbing at OCR Worlds. And I know this isn't a climbing course, but with sand, I feel like the turnover style that you need is as if you're climbing. She looked good in the race coverage. Like her stride really fit the sand last year. And she was second place. So I don't know how you can get mad with getting Annie Doobie in the third round.
She's a good pick.
It's a good
Great
pick. Yeah, in terms of
That's
her
a
health,
good value.
super
now.
good value. Like her health is okay.
Yeah,
It's been the same
Annie's
as it's been all year.
always the value pick. Have you noticed that?
Because she's never been healthy this year.
Yeah.
She's never been like, we know everything's great. The second she's dialed in and we know that she's set, she's going to get picked real high.
She has a big race experience though under her belt. Like she's not afraid. She's gonna put herself there, and like in Spartan races we've talked about many times in the past on this show is just like sometimes you just got to go out a little bit too hard, and then just when everybody dies, you're just in a good position. I think this will do that. I think her fitness is there. It's just a matter of like how her physical health will hold up. But sand is not the worst.
She's like we don't give her the credit for it, but she races a lot like Emma Cook Clark. I've never seen Annie be a late charger. She's inserted herself in the race early, whether she has the fitness or not. And if the chips fall in the right direction, she pulls it off. And if not, she fades slightly. But who doesn't when you're racing Lindsay and Emma, right? And so, like, if there's
the other thing that Annie does, she
here.
never screws up. Annie
right.
never. She always runs a clean race. She was the only one in the top 5 who didn't fail her spear last year. And every single time that she's been up there with Lindsay with the sprint finish in Asheville and stuff, it's because she ran a clean race while Lindsay failed something. And Annie will not mess up. And I think that that's going to play to her advantage again.
Good point.
Those are all fair. Kirk, I think we're left with 2 really good picks here.
Me too. I mean, there's one guy sitting there. If he's listening right now, he's feeling super disrespected.
If he's
I would go
understanding what we're saying.
Sergey and Chris.
Yeah, Sergey Paraligan, without question. He was second last year, gave Atkins a run for his money, and he's going as the 5th male pick right now. Another, I guess we're going to keep saying value pick over and over. It's going to lose its meaning, but my goodness.
Yeah, is home cooking for him. He's run on this terrain more than anyone else. He's good. I've seen him firsthand several times. We've seen him win multiple styles of race as well. I've seen him take races out hard. I've seen him burpee and come back on sand. Last year, we saw him get into it and close and still kind of hang on.
He gave it to you and you raced over there?
That's true.
Gave it to you.
He did. And he can screw up, but he's kind of past that point of his career, I think. He looked great at Trifecta Championships. That is a difficult weekend.
Yeah, did he?
Yeah, I mean, here's the way I call looking great at Trifecta Championships. If you're not the winner, if you looked good at any point on day 3.
That's fair.
If you're making moves on day 3 and running strong at least a third of the way into the race, that's a successful weekend. To have some run in you on day 3, and he did for a while.
This is last year. I made a big stink at when Jack took him kind of early at the European Championships. I think he was like 10th or 12th or something like that, and really got worked. And I was like, dude, his last race, he got smoked, and then he almost won the World Championship. So like, this could be a real game-changing pick for the Corral, or he could get 10th.
And then Kirk, do we have any recourse?
Last year's second place finishers.
Yeah.
Do we just have to take Chris?
Suck at this.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 4 names on there still that pop. We're not giving Rose Wetzel any lip service yet.
No, but she hasn't touched Chris yet this year.
No, Chris looked a little. I mean, Chris was tired. She was tired after WTM going to the Deca Champs. We know how hard shorter, spicy races are after a 24-hour event. They hit different, right?
Plus, she did trifecta.
She goes against everything that common endurance racing and training would say. And my argument about the pointy end of the spear only being able to stay sharp for so long, which is what it's going to take to perform well in a race of about an hour, which I think it's going to take these women, hour 10 maybe. So I guess I don't know how much the sand's going to slow it down, but that's all I'm waffling over. Whereas Rose Wetzel, What do we know about her right now?
I mean, she's just Rose. She's always going to put herself into the position that she feels comfortable being in the race. She's going to hang right in those spots. She's going to try to charge late. I'm looking at upside. Rose's top 3 potential probably isn't there anymore, and Chris's is. And this, us taking Chris here allows Jack to take Miriam next. I know he's eyeing that up. I don't want to
Loves to do that.
I don't want to take
love-
Esther and Miriam out from underneath him.
Yeah,
That's really kind.
it's not the course for Miriam.
So yeah, I mean, Rose could absolutely be on the podium here. Miriam could be on the podium here. Yanka might be able to pull something out on the podium here.
Mhm.
There are still some good athletes out there, but is there anyone on the list here who's been a world champ this year other than Chris?
Oh
Has Chris let us down yet?
no, she hasn't. I mean, we can go ahead and do it. That's
Do you have a better option? Is my question.
not one that I can argue with confidence. So, Chris, it is.
Chris.
I had
Happy
her
to have
written-
you, Chris. I don't mean to sound reticent. It's just like I can't do what Rylan and Chris have done. Like I know I would be hitting walls. And so I'm just putting my own personal bias into this. It's nothing about them. It's everything about like how I would handle this as a human.
It's
She
been
might be
like
fresh
2.
now.
Yeah, it's been like 2 weeks since the last 100 miler. She's good to go.
That's good. She's
She might be
charged up.
set.
She's ready to rock. Because that would. How long was
you
it?
guys want to know
after-
something on that?
Go ahead, Jack.
Since I went to Great Sand Dunes with VJ and Chris, you mentioned her 100-miler. I asked Chris, let's say that you slept, you got one day off, and then you were asked to run World's Toughest Mudder again on Tuesday or whatever that would be. How many miles do you think she said she could have got if she did that? And she was, not trying to embellish.
110.
She was just being honest.
110.
On Tuesday after
That's what she
100.
Yeah,
2 days
and you
before?
believed it. You believed her.
200.
She didn't say 110.
80.
Not 200.
85.
95.
Kirk, what do you think?
95.
She said she thinks she could have done 100 again.
I was closest.
She's recovered.
You believe? And
I
you
went
believed
running
her.
with her. She said she didn't feel great in DECA. Imagine that week after that, but she's quote fresh.
I think the best race that she ran all year, like the most aggressive and impressive race that she's had, was at OCR World Championships 15K. How many weeks removed from a 100-miler was she then? Because she didn't run one the weekend before. So it's at
fact
least
that it's
that
less
much.
than like 10.
Yeah. So I think you might be set. I think she could really show out on this. I think she's going to do really well.
Yeah.
She's gotten faster for sure this year. And so super distance, we don't think of her. We think of her as long distance for sure. But I think she's going to do pretty well. I had her written down for you guys picking her like 30 minutes ago. And you're like, well, I don't know. What are we going to do?
That's what couples do, you guys.
Apparently.
This is the version of going out to eat. Like, where do we go? What do we do? That's what Bracken and I have every single pick, and that's okay.
We know we're going to
Should we
wind
get
up
an
at
appetizer?
Applebee's.
Yeah.
Might
All right.
swing by the Froyo shop on the way home. Call it a night.
Jack, what do you got?
I mean, you guys already know. Who do you think I'm picking? Miriam. Got to go with her.
All right.
Justify
He
it
was
for us.
leading last year's race for like an hour, or at least attached with them 6-7 miles in at the sandbag carry right there. So
Isn't she
Her
like
stride
45 now or
music
something?
is-
in the Middle
40,
East as well.
43,
She
I think.
admittedly,
43?
there are other people in their 40s who are solid.
Well, I'm not
like
saying that's a
Josiah.
negative. I'm just impressed
He's
with how.
decent still.
how fast she is.
But yeah, Miriam. Oh yeah. But yeah, Miriam has not looked as good as she has in the past. But I think that she had a back injury earlier this year, from what I remember being told. And she's definitely not the Miriam of last year. But just looking at the field, I don't see her finishing anywhere worse than 5th through 7th. So I feel like she's just a safe pick at this point.
We
She
already had
has
her
tried,
penciled
looked
in
really
for
good.
you. We knew you were going to take her
Yep.
at some point here. So
You
she's
stole
already-
Esther,
she's been
so
on
I
the
got
list.
to make sure I get at least one of my harder to pronounce names from Europe.
Yeah, give us the last name.
Guillaume Boisset.
Guillaume Boisset.
You talked about
or
it with
as David
Annie.
McGee says, Guillaume Boisset.
You said it with Annie. Her stride just translated to Sandwell. Miriam's got her stride. Apparently, you watch her, and apparently she's just made for this type of terrain. She turns over well in the sand. She's not a vertical runner. She doesn't get up off the ground. She just turns over. That's why I think Esther will do well. That's why I think Miriam's going to do well. They don't have to adjust their stride as much. That's why it shocked me that Ryan did so well. I assume, Lindsay's going to do fine. She's not a vertical runner. Ryan's got some bounce in his step, and he was able to channel that onto these dunes. It didn't make sense to me, but her stride just makes sense out there.
It's tough. It's a super for her because she just, even the monkey bars, the simple obstacles, she just 5 seconds slower than everybody else. 5 seconds slower. She just, the time eats away at her, and a shorter course doesn't let her running do as much of the talking. So that's, I still think she's going to finish well, but those are sort of the check boxes in the negative column.
She got 8th place one year at Tahoe. I think it was 2016, and she did 300 burpees.
True Spartan way.
Yeah,
300.
I think
I thought it was 240, but 300. Wow.
Is there even 10
I thought there were 10
obstacles out there?
240. Yeah.
I thought it was 240.
But
240 is not impressive. 300.
If it was, that's still just as impressive. But anyway, I think
it's 210 more than anyone else who's ever gone top 10.
Yeah. And I think
so
having penalty
hopefully it goes better than that.
will keep her running. Her running will keep her in there.
Yeah, and she's the type that turns over so well that usually I would agree with Kirk. Like on a 10K, she's going to lose too much time on the obstacles. But when she hits the ground and churns, if she has any sort of fitness like last year, she hit the ground after walls and just got up to speed. Like she was on a moving runway and the rest of them were in the normal sand. Like she just gets back quicker. And I think she loses less time than she gains just on transitions alone, getting in and out of obstacles. I'd suggest people go back and watch and get a reminder of how good Miriam actually is running in the sand.
And she's not afraid to assert herself. So you're not going to see her get dropped early. She'll go put herself in there, which is always fun.
Yeah. There were some people last year who right from the start looked tired in the sand, and other people that you just looked at and thought, wow, they look good running in the sand. And she from the start just fit the bill.
All right, I'm up. I got to make sure that these people are on the list.
Back to back.
This is the appropriate up-to-date list. I have to check from. We wish we didn't have to check, but we have to check every now and then here.
Remember back when Rich had the opportunity to take Annie and didn't again? It's going to be another draft of him not to. He's going to have to take Logan or someone soon because
Logan might fly in at the end. Yeah, for
So
sure.
far.
Is Annie the only person? I think you have it that cornered there, Jack. I think she's the only one going. Hard to get over there.
Yeah.
I'm taking Yanka Popova. She was 4th at European Championships. Where'd she end up last year in this race? Did she run it?
Yep.
She's 6 or 8.
She was 9.
9.
I think she was somewhere right around 10 plus or minus a couple.
-1, 9. So take out Ida, take out Faye, take out Emma.
Yeah.
Take out the person who got 6th. I think I'm gonna make a double
Esther.
check to see if that person.
That was.
See, I don't know.
The Natalia Stunikina, but she's pregnant, so she's not racing.
Okay, I don't know if okay. So take her out too. Bump Yanka up there. She could potentially get top 5, and then I'm taking Ulrike Evanson right after that.
Run the women.
How you like that international picks? I got 3 international athletes right now, and Jack has.
It's like all
2.
that's left, but like 1. So don't be bragging about that.
That means you guys are fucked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ulrike, she's put herself in there. We saw her
And
at.
guess who's going to take the remaining U.S. athletes?
You are, of course, you were.
It's a good guess. She just has to have the staying power. She's kind of fallen apart at the end of races the past couple times we've seen her and kind of dwindled at OCR World Championships. I think she did that also at this race last year, but it's a super. So she's aggressive and she's a good runner, but not. I believe mountain running is her background. So we'll see on the sand. That translates.
Yep.
She'll be fine.
She competed in that same World Trail Mountain Running Championship with Sean Stevens Whale a couple weeks ago. And I think she was
How'd she-
around 25th.
How'd SSW do?
I mean, he got smoked
79th
because
or
of
something.
how good some of those runners are, to be honest. But he would
Yeah.
have done better than I did.
Congrats to
Hey,
Sean Stevens
don't
Whale on
sell
that one.
yourself.
Way to go,
No,
All right.
we're
Jack,
just looking time wise.
You were top 11 at the Deca World Championship, and you don't let SSW take that
That
away from
was
you.
yeah,
That's true.
absolutely.
him.
That's not what I was getting at, but yeah.
Well, that's where we went.
Just being
Jack, what do you got?
objective. I'm gonna make life really difficult for Bracken and Kirk, and I'm just gonna take Rose Wetzel.
Jack has some dudes up his sleeve. Typical.
You stole
Or
Esther
wherever.
from me. I'm stealing.
All right. Yeah, I guess we talked
I mean,
a
if you
little bit
look at
about
the
Rose. What do you
names
think?
here, who else had the chance to make in top 7? I don't think anybody does above Rose.
I don't know any more female names. I'm all out. So I'm going to be just like, I'm going to put him in the wheel of names for my next pick. Just see how it goes.
That's hurtful to all these women on the list, Rich.
They don't know who's on our list.
Can we agree that we have teams of 5 this time and we score 3? Is that what we're doing per gender?
No.
I'm okay with it. Because right
No,
now,
I like the dice roll here. So Rose, you think she can pull it off? She could even end up in the podium if she has a day.
I don't think podium. I think she had a really good race in Utah, but the rest of the year she's been not considerably, but Chris has got the better of her. So I think that she'll finish behind Chris. She'll finish behind Annie, Lindsay, Esther, and Alyssa. So I could see 6th probably being her realistic, maybe 5th, depending on how Chris is feeling, but I think she'll be fine. But I see Rose 5 to 7, just like Miriam.
She seems generally disappointed with her performances this year. Sort of okaying that life comes first, and her performances, I mean, on social media, it seems like she hasn't been happy with them. I don't know. I haven't read all of the posts at length, but that's just my general sentiment. Like, she's not performing to her potential. So maybe there's more in there than what we've seen so far. But I don't. Do you have any insight on that?
Not really. I think that there's no athlete who wishes this format existed 5 years ago. A flattish super. I think Rose would have been licking her chops to have this when 2014, 2015. This would have been right up her alley. So it's a shame that she never got a chance to race this type of course before for a championship.
Is this a strange way for the era to end? The last great Spartan race distance championship ends as a 10K in Abu Dhabi. It's just kind of going out with a whimper.
We'll find out once we watch.
Yeah, that's
won't
what we say until we see the race, and then we're pumped.
Well, the race can still be great, but you could hold it in an airport and it'd be a great race.
Yeah, I don't know if they're necessarily. I bet they didn't even think about that until we thought about it. It's like, oh wait, are we going to have one of these ever again? It's like, so I don't think it's necessarily on their mind. Like, we need to go out with a bang, because they're like, no, maybe we'll bring it back. Who knows?
Well, here we are, Kirk.
There's only been 5 dudes picked so far and 9 women. If we're gonna backdoor this thing somehow,
Which we do.
we need to pick 2 dudes, and we need to get as lucky as we can. That would be a good way to somehow pull this off, but I don't even know where to start. Jack is smirking smugly because he knows all the stats.
No, I'm at Bracken's comment. That was a good one-liner.
You like the backdoor? You really into that?
Smirking smugly. I like that. It's a good.
Well,
funny
I would
tagline
lead
for
with
Jack.
Jeremy Gachet.
Okay.
That's what I would do. He's a known commodity. He can run. We've seen him before. He didn't do great here last year, but this isn't the same course. So that would be one person I would put forward for us.
Okay.
Sold.
Okay. I mean, it's like, what are we fighting for? The 10th place woman right now, or could we fight for the 6th place man and get it right? Like, that's what we're at. So we need to pick 2 men. It's just what the situation is. So yeah, let's do it.
Jack, do you have any comments on that? Any smugness you want to
That's Jack's guy. He loves Jimmy Gachet.
You said he didn't. You said he didn't do well last year. He got 9.
He said he didn't do great last year compared to there was some chatter he might be top 5.
Got 9th last year.
Dummies. But Jack
I mean,
he was a
looks
trendy
as
top
fast as
5
anybody.
pick.
His stride is just it opens up.
Yeah.
Was he wearing white last year?
Yeah, but he fares so much better in sprints and supers.
maybe.
No, the reason I asked about wearing white is
He's got
because
the
Magida
shades
kept
and
calling
everything.
somebody else John Albin, who was also wearing white, and Magida was
Mhm.
wrong. He kept saying that's John Albin, but it wasn't. It was a guy who had a big stride. He was
Oh.
tall. That's what I'm wondering.
That was Artyom Tochka.
Okay, is
Different
he on the
guy.
list? Let's pick him.
I like that guy. Let's pick
Nope.
him.
I did not.
So anyways,
You can do a wild
Gachet,
card
we've
if you want.
watched.
Yeah.
We've watched race overseas. He's just good. He's fast, and I don't think he'll struggle with the things he struggled with last year because they're not here. That third hour is not there. That second hour is not there. The big dunes, they're not there. And we know he can open up and roll. And the ability to open up and roll on sand means that you're in this race.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I am just.
Good pick. I
How
had
good
him as
is-
the highest ranked remaining pick. So good.
Well, thank you,
How good is Petra? Is it Petre?
Peter.
Nikki?
Or
It's-
Peter.
Peter without an E between the T and the R? Peter? Anyways, his name rings a bell, but I don't have much on him. So
I don't know anything
this
about
is
him.
embarrassing, to be honest. There's an athlete on there that I'm picking up as an athlete coming up. I feel like I have 2 hall passes I want to ask you for, Bracken. One is an athlete of mine on the
Okay.
women's side, and then I'm picking up him, but I'm not starting to coach him till after the world champ, so I can't really speak to how good his training has been. So just say a name.
I'd go with Muhammad Yassin.
There's 2 Mohammeds on there. One of them's got to be good. Let's do it.
No, but different one. Sorry, not wide enough. There you go.
Muhammad Yassin
He raced
Lari.
last year.
He's done better over there than he did last year, as far as I recall. I've seen him in results over there, I think, on some of the races, and he didn't really do much last year. This is we're starting to reach here, but that's my recollection. And
Lock
Rich is
it in.
muted. So you can talk all that talk, Rich. You're muted.
Damn it.
Alright.
I was talking so much shit and it was hilarious. I was muted the whole time. Sirens going by. Damn it. Let's run it back. Start over.
Okay.
Jack, you're up.
All right.
Jack,
I
do you have
think
a
the
Muhammad
safest
update
pick-
for us?
We need a little bit
We'll see him on
higher level
We'll
analysis.
see him on race day.
Muhammad number 1.
No, he's got a couple posts earlier this year. He's fast without question. But it's really hard. A lot of those Middle Eastern races are hit or miss, where you'll see someone beat Richard Heineck, and then the next time that they face each other, he'll lose by 6 minutes in a 30-minute sprint. And it's really hit or miss, but the guy has wheels, based on
It's one of those guys that runs in
just
racing
popping a couple good
flats
races.
and looks like he's a 30-minute 10K guy on
Probably.
sand.
Yeah.
And then the next time you see him, like you said, he's in 7th place. So he's at least a name I knew and I've seen. That's the best I can do.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Jack, what you got?
All right, my pick. I'm going the guy who won the Super at Trifecta World Champs, Pablo Hordina. I feel like that's the best guy left on the board.
Okay.
You don't win a Trifecta World Championship individually, so it's good.
Now, he won off Miss Spears.
Back-to-back Rich.
Still in the mix though.
Yes, but he's been really good. I looked at head-to-head records for every single athlete on here, like from Europe, and the only people who have a better head-to-head record against like each other, I think it was Richard Heineck and Sergei Perligin. He was 3rd on the list, so he consistently beats the top dogs. So
Dope.
Rich back-to-back, and your team currently is 2 men, 3 women. I'm 2 men, 4 women. Bracken and Kirk, you are 4 men, 2 women.
Ay, ay, ay. Oh boy. All right. I'm gonna take Gregor, and then a whole bunch of consonants for his last name. Not many vowels in this guy's last name.
Sekla.
Chekla? That's how you pronounce that? There we go. That's what I want. Is it?
I think it's Chekla.
Remember Wally Zerbiak?
Shekla, yeah.
Of course.
It's like Coach K.
Does he know this? Does he know this guy?
Yeah.
This is the Wally Zerbiak of OCR.
Yeah. He got injured last year.
He's got good mid-range.
Yeah.
More athletic than you think.
Really good looking.
Striking.
He looks like Benny. He's got longer hair.
Yeah. Wally or
Gregor
Gregor?
Chekla, he's got kind of that Benny Gifford look, and he was 8th place last year, so solid pick.
God damn right. And then I'm gonna take a Peter with no R. Petra
Peter
Seniga.
Peter
That's
Taniga.
how. Yep. Mm-hmm.
What do you know about him?
He was at the Trifecta World Championships. He was top 10 in. I'd imagine he finished top 10. They don't have the overall results on their Spartan website. They just have the results from the races.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's annoying.
It's super annoying, and like
because the point of the trifecta isn't to know how you did overall.
No,
just to know your splits,
how you did on each race. Correct. I don't know where he finished overall, but he was top 10 in at least 2 of the races. I didn't check the sprint because don't even matter none. So he is a racer who is going to race.
I like his odds.
I'll do
this is the
Rich.
stuff people are tuning in for.
He's
high level
been racing
analysis
for almost a decade. Yeah.
Jack,
He's about to break
He's been
through.
racing for almost a decade. Back when
It takes that long.
Yeah. Back when Peter Zisko was winning everything in Europe, Peter Seniga was basically right there with him in a lot of races. He's beat Richard Heineck a ton, and I think he was like 7th or 8th at European Champs a couple of months ago. So smart pick. I know that a lot of research went into that for you.
For several years, he confused me because Peter Cerniga was the point of contact we had for the casting director for the Spartan Ultimate Team Challenge on NBC.
Yeah.
And so for years, I kept thinking Peter Cerniga was getting good at OCR racing. And I thought it was very, very unlikely. But here we are.
That analysis is as good as my analysis. We are just killing it with this analysis.
And I'll validate that bracket. I also thought the same thing once.
Yeah.
How about that?
Can I just save us here for a second and just say that this is whatever happens here on forward is because of our own ignorance, and it does not speak about the quality of athletes we're talking about, unless maybe Jack can chime in. So I just want to say we're making light of this, but it is due to our own pure ignorance. It has nothing to do with the quality of athletes we're talking about because we're just uneducated and it's our own fault. So I just want to preface that before somebody starts chirping at our race brain account.
That's fine. And also like the championship races, like one was trifecta, right? And that's like you have to be a certain type of athlete to want to do that. And the European Championships, I think, was in England this year, right, Jack? I don't know if that's a destination that would be less attended, but it seemed to have been that way with a lot of these athletes on here. They weren't represented at the championship races. So we'd have to like do deep dives on regional stuff. And if you were doing regional, if you're trying to do regional research here,
European, I wouldn't really buy into the European Championship results in the UK because the spread was so close. Like just because someone beats someone else by 3 or 4 places doesn't mean that they're typically a better athlete because a lot of those places were 10 to 15 seconds, and you don't know if it was a fail on an obstacle or something. It was such a close race across the board.
Jack, you up?
Yep. All right. And one other thing, Peter Seniga is on the same team as Esther in the team competition. So, I think it's Ryland, VJ, and Chris Roglaski from the US. I know they're offering like $5,000, 3,000.
Yeah.
And 1,000. Cool. Yeah. So
is it a relay or is it like the same silly format? Is it like just how are they
I've heard, I thought that they said it's going to be a 3 by 1,000 meter loop. So each team member will run 1,000 meters.
Spartan
then
cross
relay style to the next. Yeah, I think they're testing it out, Spartan cross style.
That
so
relay
that'll be
format.
exciting, but
totally cool.
Fantastic.
yeah. So I hope that they get some coverage on that as well. But good prize money. So honestly, if you've got 3 people, and it's all co-ed, so if you have 3 people from your country and like you're listening to this, sign up because they're paying out.
Yeah, if you split the winnings amongst all 3 of you, you will almost cover the cost of your travel. If you win the race.
Hardly. Yeah.
Maybe.
There's no tax. Bracken, was there tax for you winning any prize money in the Middle East? In the
Bracken
UAE?
hasn't paid taxes on any prize money.
Yeah, we got to keep that. We got to keep that low.
Let's move on.
I've never won any prize money.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I didn't win prize money in Mexico. I didn't win it in Dubai. I didn't win it in America. I didn't win it in Canada. I declined the prize money every time.
Never done it.
For the love.
Yeah. All right. My next pick, I think he's a dark horse to finish 6th or 7th. Pau Nascenta. He is just he's from Spain, and he's been just keeping up with some of the historical best across Europe for the past year or so. He's kind of new to the scene. I think he's in his like mid-20s or so. But just seeing where he's finishing relative to a lot of people in national series races throughout Spain and Europe. He probably wasn't on your radar, but I think that he has a really good shot.
Oh,
I got his name. I got his name
back
written
half
down
of the top
right
10.
here.
Why do you take these shots at us? Probably wasn't on your
He was
radar.
next.
Yeah,
There-
I would have taken him if he came.
See
back.
how
I'm
he
not
does
gonna
that
fill in
subtly
details
to
on
all
Peter
of us?
Saniga.
I picked him. I knew
Yeah.
he was a person that runs races.
All right.
So you're
Hey, you
yeah.
stole
you-
Esther.
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
know
hold
he
a
was
grudge against
qualified
the
for this
3.
race.
yeah,
We
Bracken
didn't
knew there's
steal
another guy who has a
anybody.
name. It sounds similar to it. So like, what else do we need to know?
Pau Gasol. Yeah.
Pau Gasol.
All right, Corral. What do we got?
Well, I have a very
We got 2
specific system for what I'd like to do from here on out. And on the men's side, I'd like to pick people from the Middle East or Russia. And on the women's side, I'd like to go Russians or anything Asian countries.
Yep. Cool. I'm cool with that because I got a couple women I'd like to snab that fit the bill for that. On the men's side, your guess is as good as mine.
Well, let's start with some women, either Russian or Asian by my standards.
What does that mean by your standards?
Like, that's what I would prefer.
Like they look okay. What I would like to do is pick. We have 2. We have Magdalena Chektovic, who's my hall pass. She's an athlete of mine. She lives in Hong Kong. And then Melissa Campos has done well with the Asian, with Chris Davis, yeah. And then Melissa Campos has done well in the Asian contingency in the races over there. Although I don't think she's exposed herself much to the overseas competition.
Okay.
So we have those 2.
Take them both. You got 2 picks.
Why don't you grab one and I'll choose one, and next round we'll do the same thing.
Well, here's the thing. I believe Melissa at the last race landed on the podium. And Maggie, my athlete, was right behind her in 4th. However, I don't talk to Melissa every week. I talk to Maggie every week. I know she's a sniper. So hall pass, Maggie Chektovic.
That's an early use of a hall pass, but you may do so.
Thank you, sir. Going with Maggie. How's that for pressure, Maggie? I hope you're listening. She missed her workout due to travel the other day, so she's going to be fresh.
Ooh.
Mindset's going to be a mess.
No.
You should have hit that workout.
I think he's got something like 30 podiums.
She's loaded up, yeah.
All right. Well, then I'd like Natalia Gurchenkova.
He's got a ton for the years.
Okay. Based on
Damn
that,
it.
you know that last name is Russian?
Where do you
That's
think
what I was
Um,
going to take.
And she also is historically successful on in the regional scene.
Shit. All right.
Rich seems upset.
That's she's definitely successful. She's from Spain though. But she's definitely legit.
I didn't claim Russian for her.
She meets neither of your criteria.
I thought you just said Russia.
No,
Or
Rich said
Asian.
Russian.
I didn't know.
Oh,
such
Rich said,
thing.
okay, my bad.
I did not.
Yeah.
Skirchenkova sounds like it's an Eastern European name,
That's all that
but
matters.
it doesn't mean she resides
Yeah,
there.
Your criteria, we didn't.
She resides in
Yeah, you guys did a terrible job. You rolled out some qualifiers and just
I feel like that's very us.
that's true. Doing a terrible
It's
job.
so us, isn't it, Bracken?
Like Chris Bob Brown is neither of those things, but he's going to get sniped.
He's getting taken. Is there a trail over there? Jack, what do you got?
I've got. Do I have 3 men, 4 women?
That's
One
what
of
I
the
have.
best
Yeah.
racers in Asia, and I don't think any athlete from Asia has ever finished in the top 10 at Spartan World Championships, and he was 19th last year. But a lot of people are missing from last year, so I think he'll move up several spaces as well. And just gotta, they're pretty well represented, the Philippines here, so I think that they're coming to, to deliver this race.
What are they going to deliver?
Good question. Good follow up.
Yeah.
I just want to know which nations are coming not to deliver.
They're gonna perform well.
They're
They're coming to perform well. That's
Because there's more of them?
Pretty sure they just had that world's highest OCR, whatever gimmick event it was, the at Mount Everest Base Camp or something
Altitude
like that,
OCR,
and he
yeah.
won.
Whoa,
that, so
really?
he's got that.
Well,
altitude
he won it,
training
but
as
not
well.
outright.
Yeah.
A female actually was the outright winner. They crossed the line together, but she made up time checkpoints on him. She started afterwards. So just so we're being clear on things.
How about that?
Altitude's going to play a big role in this race.
Mm-hmm.
Well, great. This means I'm up.
All right, so we've got back-to-back Rich.
I need to take 2 people here. Oh my god.
And your genders, you have 4 men, 3 women, so you're only allowed 1 guy till the wild card.
I'm gonna take this Melissa Campos
Because Kirk talked about her.
because I heard the name somewhere.
She's always on the
Everything that Kurt
podium
said,
over
right?
there.
Yeah.
I've heard the
No,
name.
yeah.
I don't know where I heard, but I know the name. I know the name exists. From there, let's look at these dudes.
I don't know much about her background, but when you creep on her Instagram, she's just like on podiums. That's enough.
Hey, doesn't matter. Like they might be age group, but she's on them.
They're elite podiums.
Is anyone taking this guy? Yeah, he's been taken. I'm that guy in that
Good
giraffe
research.
now who's like, yeah, it's like, oh my god.
Whatever's
Cook's
fun
still on
to
the board.
say.
Yeah.
Just say that one.
Give me Rondane.
Give me, give me the other Muhammad. Give me the available
Tim
Muhammad.
Tebow.
Muhammad
Sherman Monagil.
Yeah.
Did you say Sherman? Rich?
He did say he said Jack said Sherman. I said
He
Sherwin.
is also Sherwin. I said Sherman because I was copying and typing. Sherwin Williams.
Way to pronounce names.
He's from Asia, I think the Philippines. Really good ultra athlete. I don't know his top end speed, but he's typically fighting for local race podiums over there.
Nice.
He bait and switched you with the Muhammad. You were expecting Saudi, and you got Filipino.
Well, happened to you before with the Spanish athlete. So
I don't claim that.
hoping to
No.
grab a Russian. Good analysis, Jack. You're up.
And this podcast is brought to you by American Ignorance.
Every week.
There
Every
it
single
is.
week.
That's what the people come for, though.
They've been with us since the
Jokes.
very beginning.
Jack's Comedy Hour coming live.
Like I said, people are laughing their asses off. It's just
Like three pretty good commentators with
100%,
insight and
yep.
one just hilarious stand-up comedian.
knocks it out of the park.
Yeah. That's what I do. Got to have that one liner every week. So, ridiculous. What was in the group chat, Kirk? What did you say? I do the comedy hour in whatever native language I was messaging people or something.
Yeah, I
for-
think
for
that'd be a
Patreon.
good Patreon giveaway. It's
Yeah.
just 1 hour stand up with Jack. You just
I'll
or
do,
the
I'll do it in
puppet, you-
Slovakian or something.
You
Yeah.
can, yeah, you can show up to
Yeah.
some work holiday party, just crush stand up.
Yeah.
Tight 10 minutes you got.
Yeah. All right. My next pick, I'm going the guy who finished 11th last year, Saleh Al Suwaidi. Number of podiums in the Middle East. I think I might be confusing him with someone else, but he's a 106 half marathoner, and he got 11th last year. So that is not someone I want you guys to pick when you already said that you're just going to pick people with Middle Eastern sounding names.
I didn't say Middle Eastern sounding names. We said Middle Eastern athletes, which is why we picked a Russian sounding Spaniard.
and then someone who lives in Hong Kong but is not from Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm. So try and keep up.
That person got 11th.
One step
I
back.
missed that. Shoot. That's good. That's gonna be one of those picks that you're gonna be like, yeah, check this out.
He ends up 4th, and it's
I know
what matters.
Well, now we're into our money picks, Kirk.
He got mentioned on the live coverage last year. I remember Megiddo specifically calling him out during a certain point.
Nice job, Megiddo.
What are we at for men and women? Where are we at for how many?
4
we
and
got
4.
left? Okay.
4 and 4.
Thank you, Jack.
Timely as always. 1 and 1. What do you guys got?
Go ahead, Bracken.
David Labrosse. Labrosse.
Okay. Jack, you know anything about that guy?
Oh, he's
He
frozen with fear of not knowing.
Yeah, he's been one of the top friends for a long time, and he was one of the rabbits for the.
He's been one of the top French for a long time. He was one of the rabbits at some of these productions that they put on this year, which means he was able to keep up with some of the top men and or women. And there's sirens going on. I can't.
Nah,
All
right, we're off the rails. Kirk, you pick a woman. Pick a woman for the team. Just pick somebody.
Yeah, I am going to pick. Let's go with Agata Petrovic.
Agata Petrovic. Yep.
Exactly.
She's from
I
Canada.
said it.
Petrosic.
Is she from Canada?
From Canada?
That wasn't my logic there. That would be confusing.
She probably has. No, she has something like 25 or 30 podiums.
25,
in her
I think,
career
podiums.
across Europe. So she's definitely probably the best name remaining.
Yeah, I think she's probably the best name remaining.
I mean, she's up there on our list that we had.
Yeah, which name was that again? So I can cross her off.
In alphabetical order.
So
she was right on top.
We looked at head-to-head matchups of people who we thought might be Russian but could be Canadian. She came out clear ahead.
I don't know if she's Canadian.
She ain't Canadian. Jesus, guys. We're going to have to put a sub note. Like, if you want to fast forward through like 110 through the remainder of the episode, go right ahead.
Jack, you're up to finish it up.
All right. And I have to pick a woman. I'm going to go Andrea Barquez from the UK. She finished somewhere in the, like, a couple minutes off Alex Walker last year. That's good enough for me to pick her.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, let me see. I'll take Sandy Abahana.
That's a great choice.
I agree.
Sandy Menchie Abahan. Yep.
Now we're on wild card. What really matters?
Anybody with 3 names is good. We all know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I might just pick IZZ here in the wild card.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I already got a sleeper wild card.
I'm up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Kempson. Give me Ryan Kempson here.
Yes. Brian
Who knows?
Kempson.
Who knows if he's where he's going to be? He might be in the sand. Jack, who's your wild card?
I don't know if his name starts with a K or not. I could pick that guy. You know what? He got some love on the broadcast last year. Do you guys remember Rich and Bracken who was out early and we thought that he like died on the slip wall because the result stayed up there the whole time? Remember
what was the name?
Mervin Guarte?
Irvin Magic Guarte.
How could we forget?
Yeah, something like that.
You taking him?
So I looked him up. He's a 150 flat 800 runner. Yeah.
Suck it.
He's a
Bracken.
150 flat 800 runner. He holds like the Filipino record in the 1500 and the 800. And obviously not afraid to go out hard. We'll see how it plays out, but that's some pure running talent. And I've got to pick a really good runner at least once during the race.
Has to be in there.
I think we go with Steve Hammond. We know he's out there. Maybe he puts on his racers and laces them up and gets out there. He will be present. That's a start.
He will be there. Yep. The best ability is availability.
I agree.
I'm surprised you were talking about IZZ. Why not double Z right here?
Who's that? News Zober?
I don't know. Cool name.
I think a guy with no E and Peter is probably a confident man.
Piotr?
Petre Vanicki? What do you think?
Well, Piotr's a Russian name. Let's go with Piotr.
Piotr?
That's the Russian form of
Kirk is like,
Peter.
I don't want Piotr. I want Peter.
I won't
take nobody else.
You want Petre?
Yeah. Who do you want?
PETR is typically Piotr.
My father's name is Peter, spelled correctly. That's close enough for me.
So is mine.
Like that.
Yeah, we got. How did we not pick a Petre up to this point?
Well, with the last pick in the draft,
Peter Vanicki got top 10 at OCR Worlds before, so it's a stud.
Stud.
Which is why we took him.
All right.
I still think Steve Hammond would been a good pick, but
all right, we did it. I don't think we need to recap these names. We'll recap them on check out our social media to recap it. We'll talk. We'll make sure we'll give all the picks and everything that what happened and how these shake out next week on the episode.
Anything that happened after round 4 or 5.
We don't need to go through these names again.
What's at stake here, fellas? Like for the winner and the loser, do we
nothing
have
according to Rich last year?
Discussed? Like who cares then? Isn't there something that the winner gets or the loser?
I say that if Kirk and Bracken lose, they have to break up and be separate team next year.
I don't want either of them on my team.
No.
Their own team
just
or
4 teams, and we'll do like draft 7 people or something instead.
Seems too harsh.
Do you guys
if
see
we win, you want that?
No, if you lose. If you lose.
Was that the Saudi soccer team who all got gifted Rolls Royces after pulling off a win?
Oh, yeah.
In the cup?
Wow.
You think something like that might just happen this weekend?
I think that's a fair,
reasonable,
fair prize.
Yeah. Third place is $4,000, but you get a 6-figure automobile.
Maybe.
I could see it.
Lamborghini.
We'll open it up to land in country, but you got to stay here to have it.
Yeah.
Go home with a camel.
I like my odds. Not that we were all even until around round 6, and then the wheels fell off for you guys. But we'll see how it turns
We'll
out.
see. We will see about that. All you need is 7. I got a couple on there that I don't know where they'll go. I think I can get 7 in though. I think I can get 7.
We have 5 for sure.
the corral's got
Definitely.
solid 5. Solid 5.
And having Esther, that made me mad. I had to
Yeah.
bust out all the international moves after that.
Yeah, you could take a couple of ones. All right, fellas. What we got in the running public this week?
Well, Training Tuesday today, which will be yesterday by the time this probably comes out, is atypical styles of run training. Rather than how much can we run, how many days per week can we run, what other ways can you get around it?
What was the female who got second place? The athlete from Florida.
She spawned our conversation.
Oh,
Parker Velby.
That's why we said let's chat about it.
that's the old. We had that episode, Kirk. You and I. You guys
We
just
did.
running back our content. That's nice.
She
We
got
didn't
walked
even.
down.
We just slapped our intro music on your episode.
Listen, the other day or last week, Bracken was like, we were talking about who we want to interview, and he's like, didn't we already did Tyler Veerman? Didn't we interview him? I was like, no. He goes, oh, that was with Benny. Confused me with his ex.
It's like
Oh,
you're like,
wow.
man,
Oh,
this is a great
no.
hotel. I loved the last time we came here too.
It felt like that. Terrible.
That's tough. That's tough.
It hurt.
If there were, I can't think of 2 less interchangeable people.
Kirk and Benny.
Yeah.
More interchangeable?
Are you trying to insult me or compliment me?
Yeah. Which angle? Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Both.
And I have Ryan Kent on. We just talk about DECA stuff. I'm gonna get some legs out of this DECA content. We're
Gotta
talking
keep
DECA
people.
for-
Anything that can bring it back to the fact that you're the world champ.
I just want to make sure everyone's reminded as much as possible. But yeah, next week I'm probably looking at some sort of mindset guest, which will be nice. So, all right, we did it.
So did you intro him as like DECA participant?
Kent?
Yeah.
Oh, DECA fit second place for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about his other races though.
That's good.
Yeah.
Why didn't you ask Jack to talk about it?
Jack?
No, I think people would rather hear Ryan Kent talk about that.
Jack answers for you.
Yeah,
All
they
right.
were there for the serious chat. They weren't there for comedy hour.
Yeah. That's the Reinforced Running Show is a little bit more, cut and
Serious.
dry, down
Yeah.
to the
Yeah,
nuts and bolts. We leave comedy over here on.
And then we have Ian Floyd coming this week. We're gonna record with
Oh.
Ian.
Nice, really?
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you
Heck
done that,
yeah.
Rich?
I haven't done that.
Yeah, because you don't care about your own people. You don't draft. You don't draft your Torque members, and you don't interview your own athletes and social media managers.
I'm picking up Ian Floyd when he goes to waivers. I don't care if he's racing or not. He's going to be on my team.
And the sad thing about it is you still won't listen to our episode with him because it's our podcast. You still
Yeah.
can't bring yourself to do it. That's how we know you don't care about Ian.
Maybe like 2.5 speed or something like that. We'll get through it.
Well, one other thing, we've got the Okras coming up in a couple weeks, right? So there's-
I was thinking we
Need
should go live, get all dressed up and nice. Bracken made us look
Do it.
foolish last year. He was looking sharp. Oh, maybe a watch along, but we'll talk about that later. We don't know
Yeah.
if that can be
we'll
something.
chime in, have people poll how they should have voted or something. Now that you've got this fancy technology,
I know. Look at this. Hold on. The corral.
There
How
we
about
are.
that? Pretty
Hey.
sick. What time can we expect the race to be? Is it in the afternoon again?
I'd have to look it up.
We don't know shit about this. They have not done a good job of telling us what to expect for this, so we don't know what to expect at all.
I'm on the race page. I'll try to scroll down to what you know.
Probably
Talked about it
probably worth
before. And
hanging
it's
out
going to be
for.
another one of those 4 or 5 a.m. type of deals. Yeah.
Could
Race
be.
day. All right. Heat times. Race day info.
With going
It's
on
hard to
Jack's
find.
computer here, this might crash our whole system.
Yeah, there's nothing my family likes more than their alarm clock being me ranting about OCR at 4 a.m.
That was the best thing that we've ever done content wise. I think that anyone's ever done content wise.
Top two.
We need Colderosa there. And if you're going to be out there, if you'll be out there, let us know because we're going to do a watch along if there isn't live coverage. Just let us know if you're going to be streaming it, and we'll give you a lot of credit.
We could have this banner that says "not actual coverage." We don't know what place anyone's in. We could just have that the whole time.
Cover your butt.
Yeah, good thing we learned about this. banner situation.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Let's
you
move
next
on to
week.
the next episode.
Yeah. See ya.